Hello, how is everyone doing? We're very excited because it is Le Mans. Hope you can hear us well. Qualifying is just starting here tonight for GT3s and LMP2s at the moment. 30 minutes here of the LMGT3s and LMP2s, and then we'll have the hypercar qualifying session later on. It's a bit of a weird format compared to previous years this time though. Basically the I think 16 LMP3s are coming, sorry, LMP2s. I don't actually know how many cars are going through. They did explain it on the stream just a few minutes ago, but I cannot remember. Goldfish memory, as you can expect. But yeah, we're going to be here for this, and then cars will head through to Hyperpole tomorrow from these two sessions today. As I said, I can't remember how many of each car will actually go through, but I will update you when I find that out. It's going to be a pretty amazing race, I think. Should be pretty exciting. Lots of new cars and new drivers to the series, to Le Mans. Obviously, you got the Aston Martin Valkyries, which are, you know, everyone loves. So
I do have the information for how qualifying is going to work.
Yes, tell us.
So, in this first session, we will be left with the 12 fastest LMP2s and the 12 fastest LMGT3s, which are from fields that are, I think, 17 and 24 strong, respectively.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. So we're going to lose 5 LMP2s, and we're going to lose half of the LMGT3 field. And we will lose also in the later session, the 6:30 session this evening, we will lose down to the 15 fastest hypercars. Then on Thursday, we're going to have Hyperpole 1, which is kind of like Q2. It's the equivalent of Q2 in F1. At which point we will lose the 5 slowest hypercars to be left with 10, and then 4 LMP2s and 4 LMGT3s. Then in Hyperpole 2, you'll have 8 LMGT3s going for class pole, 8 LMP2s going for class pole, and the 10 remaining hypercars going for overall and class pole. So that's how that works.
Thank you, Oliver. I appreciate that.
Slightly complicated.
Yeah.
It is new for Le Mans as well. There's no other race in the WEC calendar that runs like this at the moment.
Yeah.
Although this may be a little bit of a demo run for a future implementation of something similar to this across the rest of the series as well, which I wouldn't necessarily be against. I think, you know, spreading out the qualifying action over more sessions isn't necessarily a bad thing.
No, absolutely. I mean, you know, you see it, and you know, obviously we've got the added grid this time. We've got the LMP2s that actually join us for Le Mans. They're not part of the work series anymore. You've got more LMGT3s and you've got more hypercars. So, you know, I think for Le Mans it works pretty well, and maybe it won't work for something like the rest of the season in WEC, but if it works here, it works here. We've just got some cars on our stream just starting their qualifying laps, so the LMP2s expectedly starting their laps. But it's you know, it's very strange for qualifying to be on a Wednesday and then obviously Hyperpole on a Thursday, very early on in the week. We've also had, you know, only one free practice session just literally 2 hours ago. Ended about 2 hours ago, so you know they've not had much time since free practice. That free practice session was 3 hours long, but it you know, you can only learn so much in a 3 hour session before qualifying, and you know some people will have done 3 hours in 3 hours of running in the free practice earlier and don't get through to Hyperpole tomorrow. That's just how it is going to be, unfortunately, for these guys. As you can see on our timing as well, we've got the Pro-Am and the LMP2 standard classes as well, which adds a little bit more to the LMP2 class than expected.
Yeah, that is one of the things we've got to remember, is that LMP2, as much as the cars are identical, they are actually running under two different classes. Whether you have a full Pro lineup, as you do in the main LMP2 class, whether you have an LMP2 Pro-Am lineup, which involves some drivers from the lower spectrum of the FIA driver licensing system.
Yeah, I believe the Pro-Am entries, they have to have a bronze driver in. The standard LMP2s, they don't need to have a bronze in, so they become basically you can have a gold, a silver and a platinum, really. Let me quickly just have a look at the spotter's guide and see what it is like in this case. Yeah, so looking at the LMP2 grid, you've got some standard LMP2s that have silver. I mean, the Edex Sport number 18, it's got Jamie Chadwick, who's a silver, Matthew Jobert, who's a silver, and then Andre Lutterer, who's a platinum driver. So that's a really, really strong lineup there. So it'll be interesting to see how those cars go, but we do have times coming through.
First official times on the board at the moment. Fastest in TDS Racing, that's Matthias Besch with a 1:38.1. That's in the main LMP2 class. No, it's not. That's in the LMP2 Pro-Am class. I do apologise. Yeah. Second in class was that number 25 Algarve Pro racing car, which I believe we were just looking at a moment ago. If you're following along on the live stream, in fact, it's the car we're looking at now. If you're following along on the official WEC.TV live stream. And that car is going to be a 38.3. That is absolutely cracking on.
Rapid.
And we've got times changing all over the place.
We've just had our first LMGT3s come through. Currently, Ahmed Al-Hati at the top. Now, Ryan Hardwick in the Manthey First Form Porsche comes in with a 358.055. We did also just see Esteban Masson in the 48 Banis racing car go wide in the final chicane. So loses quite a bit of time there. But as I mentioned, Ryan Hardwick, though, in the Porsche, currently at the top of the timings in LMGT3. Cairo Samuel asking, how many trophies are made given out for Le Mans? So you will have, obviously, the podium for each class. So you'll have Hypercar, LMP2, LMP2 Pro-Am, and then LMGT3. You also have, for this, you have the Hypercar World Cup, which is for the privateer entered hypercars. So that includes the number 83 Yellow Submarine Ferrari, the privateer Ferrari. It's not really privateer, but you know, that's what we know it as. And then the other one in that class is the number 99 Proton Competition Porsche 963. So yeah.
We've also got the Wayland Cadillac, don't forget.
Yes, but I don't think that's part of the full season, is it?
It's not part of the full WEC season, no, but it is one of the privateer cars that are taking part in the race.
So it'll be in that podium as well. We did see as well during the practice session earlier on the 63 Iron Lynx Mercedes AMG GT3 Evo had a big crash in the coming out of turn 1. Well, the kink at turn 1, and had a big incident. A lot of front end damage, and bonnet was all up and everything. So it'll be interesting to see if they're out on track this time. I'm just going to have a quick check.
Not so far
through.
is the answer.
No. So as you can see just here, this car is currently not going anywhere. Louis Delatraz has just gone pole so far in the AI by TF Pro-Am entry. So currently got 3 Pro-Am cars at the top. He did a 36 888, which is pretty impressive. Too long didn't read a heck ton of trophies. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that is the well-loved Spike car that went to the top there, although immediately dethroned. In fact, Theo Porsche and that number 25 Algarve Pro Racing car goes back to the top of the times. That's now a 36.6, so we've taken 2.5, 3 seconds off of those first runs. So these cars now, obviously without tyre warmers, that first lap or so is somewhat sketchy. So the time's now tumbling as those tyres get into their working window and actually start giving the grip that these LMP2 drivers have come to expect from what you've got to admit are very, very high downforce machines.
Yeah, these times will keep coming down as Tom Van Rompuy in the number 81 TF Sport Corvette has just gone pole in LMGT3 with a 58.044. So really good. Lots of traffic out there with the LMGT3s. Lots of them getting caught up with each other. You can see in the stream at the moment, Adam Hardy getting a little bit caught up by 2 Ferraris in front of him.
So we have got a there is a car other than that Mercedes yet to set a lap. It's the number 87 Acodis ASP. Number 87 Acodis ASP Lexus RCF, which did come in pretty much straight away. I think didn't even set a lap. Came in at the end of its first lap. And is now still supposedly in the pit lane, although this says it might be on an outlap, which I think it is. As I say that, the twin car there, the other Acodis ASP Lexus, goes to the top of the timing boards, and we've got yellow flags at Marshall Post 3. That is going to be, I would assume, the first chicane Dunlop at the top of the hill. Oh, and that's gone into a red flag. That has gone into a red flag. We are under red flag conditions now. It's the number 60 Iron Lynx Mercedes. Oh no.
Another.
Oh, not the Iron Lynx again.
I have just switched over the live timing to the actual live timing that we have from WEC. Hopefully that'll be a little bit more important for you.
That car doesn't appear to be in a particularly difficult place to recover, so I'm confused as to why we have picked up a red flag here.
Is
Not
that
a place
coming
they
out
could
of
retrieve it
the...
safely.
Yeah. Yeah, that's coming up to the Dunlop chicane.
Yeah, that's weird. Just came to a real
Complete
kind of
stop,
grinding stop there, didn't it? And unfortunate, you've got to admit. This is a team that have struggled so much, not only with reliability, but with kind of just straight up pace.
Yeah.
Across the WEC season so far. Iron Link's a team that you have to feel are really struggling.
No, absolutely, they are. And, you know, it's a shame to see, but it's the only thing you can do.
Feels like everything that... it does feel like everything that kind of lands at the feet of Iron Lynx at the moment in the way of running or managing a team is very much going against how you might want it to go for Iron Lynx. They struggled with the Lamborghini SC63 hypercar last year, although that wasn't helped by the lack of development help from Lamborghini themselves. And the fact that the car just wasn't very good. But now they've been handed what is a very successful Mercedes GT3 program pretty much everywhere else it takes part in the world. And they don't appear to be able to produce anything with it at all. I mean, you think back to you think back and look at like GT America, for example, GT World Challenge America by SRO, and Phil Ellis is an absolute monster in that Mercedes GT3.
I mean,
but Iron Lynx don't appear to be able to produce anything.
It's not even just Philip Ellis. You know, you've got the likes of, you know, Maxime Martin, Lucas Sauer, Mauro Engel. You know, you've got all of these star pro driver, Lucas Stoltz, even Michael Grenier. All of these pro drivers who have so much success in, you know, Spa 24, Nürburgring 24, coming up next week and the weekend after. But in these conditions, or in this rule set, they just don't work.
It is very, very odd. Very, very odd.
If you are joining us in the chat, in the video at this time, please do let us know where you're watching from, who you're supporting for this weekend. Love to hear where you're from and what you watch, where you're watching from, and indeed see who you are supporting. Also, do give us a like on the video. Do subscribe as well. We're hopefully going to be live during the 24 hours so that you can have all of your updates throughout the race that you need.
Okay, so the most recent update, the clock has officially stopped, which it only does in qualifying. In practice and in the race, the clock will not stop for a red flag. It's only in these qualifying sessions. The number 87 Acodis ASP team is yet to have set an actual lap. They've still only completed an outlap and then come back in to the pit lane. So they are still waiting. Other than that, at the moment, as things stand, if my maths is correct, we're losing half of the LMGT3 field, which means at the moment we would be losing the number 10 Aston Martin, the 57 Castle Racing Ferrari, the 21 Vista AF Corsa Ferrari, the 85 Iron Dames Porsche, the 31 Benz Team WRT BMW, obviously the number 60 Iron Lynx Mercedes AMG, which has caused this red flag, the 150 AF Corsa Ferrari, the 90 Manthey 911, the 13 AWA Corvette, which is sad because I love that livery, the 61 Iron Lynx Mercedes, the 63 Iron Lynx Mercedes, and of course the aforementioned 87 Acodis ASP team Lexus, which is yet to set a lap.
you got a big range of different cars and different manufacturers there, and teams as well in that list of cars not coming through. You know, you've currently got both of the Mustangs through to the top 12 at the moment. You've got both of the McLarens from United Autosports in, and you've got both of the TF Sport Corvettes. So it's looking good for those three manufacturers and teams, but for everyone else, it's just not there yet.
Yeah. Well, and at the moment, you've got to say, every manufacturer has a car in that top 12, except Mercedes.
But was that expected?
Iron Lynx Mercedes team are the only car that doesn't have at least one team running in that top 12. I know, obviously, they were a car short. It is normally a 3-car effort. So they were a car short already due to the issues with the number 63. But, I mean, yeah, and you say, was it to be expected? And unfortunately, I have to say, yes, pretty much. I wasn't expecting any of these Mercedes to get through, but I think it is a reflection of just how poor it has been for Iron Lynx so far this year.
And we've just heard on the commentators, from Eduardo Freitas, the race director, that the number 60 will not be able to continue in the session once it gets back into the pit. So that is their qualifying over. That's one of the cars that will not make it through to Hyperpole. That car will be starting last.
I don't know if they will be starting last. It depends if they lose their lap time for having caused a red flag. If they're disqualified from the session, essentially, by losing their only time, I think it would then, at the moment, likely turn into sadly, a last row lockout for Mercedes. But again, we've still got this Acodis ASP Lexus to set a lap time, and at the moment they are sat last on the timing board.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they come out at. So we'll keep an eye on that. And we are back to green now. Cars heading back out on track. They'll do a few more laps and then get through and start their lap times again.
Yeah, and this will likely put a delay on the hypercar qualifying as well, which was supposed to begin at 6:30 BST, 7:30 CEST local time in Le Mans. But we are now only 22 minutes away from that, and there's 14 minutes left of this session. I feel like that might just be pushing it a little bit too close.
Yeah.
But we'll see what the brilliant teams here in Le Mans can do. I know that they are quite good at a quick turnaround in the necessary situations. So hopefully it won't be too large a delay for the start of hypercar qualifying.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, and obviously we love the Valkyries from Aston Martin in the WEC now. The roaring V12s are back. Ches in the chat saying that he's watching from his rig and rooting for whoever has the best livery. Well, who do you think has the best livery at the moment, Ches? Let us know.
That means that you're rooting for the number 13 AWA Racing Corvette, because I love that livery. It's brilliant. Yellow flags back again at Marshal Post 15, but almost as quickly as I can say it, they're removed again. So just someone having a little off moment. Marshal Post 15, in my mind, adds up to probably the first Marsan chicane.
That would make sense.
If my rough math is correct, either there or Tete Rouge. Didn't even get a notification on someone moving slowly. We might see it on the WEC live timing. Don't he look like it?
Doesn't, does it?
Everyone progressing as normal. Tell you what, we did a little run through of who's going to be missing from the Hyperpole 1 session in LMGT3 if things finish as they are. Let's do a quick run through of who isn't in from LMP2 at the moment. At the moment, missing out in LMP2 would be Matthias Besch in the TDS Racing number 29. Andre Lotterer in the IDEC Sport number 18. That's not a name you'd expect to be out. Luca Giotto also not a name you'd expect to be out in the Inter Europol number 34. Colin Braun in the number 24 Nielsen Racing, and to round it out, the Iron Lynx Proton of Rashad De Gurus. That's a name that I don't know how to pronounce. That's the number 9 car missing from that top 12. However, we have still got just about 11 minutes left to go in this session, just about 10 minutes left to go in this session, depending on if you're on the live timing or not. So plenty of time to get laps done. Should be 2 or 3 laps for all of these cars. 2 or 3 push laps, possibly 2 push laps and a cool down in between, but it's Le Mans. You haven't exactly got time to do a cool down lap.
No, exactly. You don't have time to do a cool down lap. If you do a cool down lap, you're going to be pretty slow and definitely, you know, impact what you can do in your times.
Ah, the Acodis ASP number 87 lives.
Perfect.
It is out there, turning laps apparently, which I'm sure they'll be happy to know. And an issue there. That's for the number 34, I think, was it? The number 34.
Yeah, the 34 into Europol, Luca Giotto.
Yeah, which is already not in the session. Already struggling, down in 15th in class in the moment, only 2 cars slower, and that's a right rear puncture, delamination on that tyre, so that is going to be really, really unfortunate for them.
Yeah, I think that's too late for them to get anything sorted after that.
they might get one lap in, but it's going to be on new tyres. So it's not even going to be quick, because the tyres won't be ready. They won't be in the window. So, yeah, I'm really not confident that that's going to be a good lap, even if they do manage to get one in and done. But as always, we'll wait and see. Might be lucky enough to get it done. Fastest Sector 1 overall this time for the Algarve Pro Racing number 45 car. That's in the hands of, I believe that's Alex Quinn, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there are improvements coming even after this red flag, and let's not forget that these cars will have another lap after this. And the Akotis ASP team number 87 moves themselves up. That's 31st overall. Which is 14th in class, so they're still not quite in the window, but they are now off the bottom of the timing sheets. And actually, we might be forced to eat our words here. The number 61 Iron Lynx of Matt Berry is currently in P11 in class. Martin Berry, sorry.
Yes.
11th in class. That is a noticeable improvement compared to his teammates. That lap of 3:58.732. We'll wait and see if there's any more improvement on that from Martin Berry, or if that is going to be the maximum he can get out of it. He might need a little bit more. I'm not confident that that the other drivers won't improve enough to knock that effort out of the top 12.
Yeah, just keeping an eye on the chat. Ches in the chat saying the Aston Hypercar goes hard, so I'm rooting for them. Absolutely real. And then welcome in, Michael. Welcome in. How are you doing?
Yellow flags. Red flag, red flag. It's at the first Mulsanne chicane. I don't know who it is. I'm tracking through the LMGT3s to find out. It's the Richard Mille AF Corsa Ferrari in the hands of Toledo. I'm assuming that is going to be a big crash at the first Mulsanne for how quickly that went to a red flag. Session time remaining is 0. But that is the number 150 Richard Mille AF Corsa Ferrari off at Mulsanne chicane 1. And this very quickly switches from a yellow to a red flag. We'll see, I'll let you know when we see the switch on the live stream on WEC TV. And I will update you as soon as we have word on the condition of the driver and condition of the car. That is, there we go, the number 150 of Toledo backwards on the, just after the apex of the second Mulsanne chicane. That's weird. Not quite sure how Toledo's done that. The car doesn't appear to have too much damage, which is a good thing. So, this means that through to Hyperpole 1 is going to be the number 199 AO by TF, driven by Louis Delatraz. Number 23 United Autosports, driven by Ben Hanley. The number 45 Algarve Pro Racing, driven by Alex Quinn. The number 29 TDS Racing, driven by Matthias Besch. Number 22 United Autosports, driven by Pietro Fittipaldi. The number 48 VDS Panis Racing, driven by Masson, not sure of his first name. The 25 Algarve Pro Racing, driven by Théo Pourchaire. Then we've got the 43 into Europol by Nick Yellerly. The number 28 IDEX Sport, being driven by Josip van Joitert. The number 16, the number 16 RLR M Sport, being driven by Pile. The number 183 AF Corsa, being driven by Maxime Vivier. And the number 37 CLX Pure Racing, being driven by Tom Blomqvist, are the 12 LMP2s that are through. In LMGT3, it's the number 46 Team WRT BMW, the number 27 Heart of Racing Aston Martin, the 92 Manthey First Form Porsche, the 78 Dakotas ASP Team Lexus, the 81 TF Sport Corvette, the 88 Proton Competition Mustang, the Ziggo Sport Tempesta Ferrari, the United Autosports McLaren, the Vista AF Corsa Ferrari, both Vista AF Corsa Ferraris actually, the 21 and the 54. Then the Iron Lynx of Martin Berry, the number 61 Mercedes, is through. So we will eat our words there, humbly eat our words. And rounding out the final spot, I believe, was the final United Autosports McLaren. Was it? Yes, indeed it was, the number 95.
Yeah.
So, if I'm not mistaken, that makes McLaren the only manufacturer to have all of its cars in to Hyperpole 1. Indeed it is. No other manufacturer has both cars in. I don't believe. The Ben Team WRT BMW is in 16th. Ben Keating in 17th. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
so McLaren the only manufacturer with both cars in. I guess the real question now is how long is our delay going to be before we
interesting.
go into hypercar qualifying? I wouldn't be surprised if it is probably you're looking at 6 or 7 minutes, possibly closer to 10. I'm trying to think how long that red flag delay was. It wasn't too bad off the top of my head. Let me try and find how long it did end up being. So I think it ended up being about 6 or 7 minutes under red flag for the first time. So hopefully the delay shouldn't be too long. Hopefully no much more than about a quarter of an hour until we will be live for the hypercar qualifying. We're going to stay here though. We're going to stream all the way through, talk about some of the interesting things that we picked up on in free practice 1 across all 3 classes, and also talk about a little bit of the drama that we've had so far, including, and I don't know if you've heard about this, Charlie, but there have been some rumours floating around on Radio Le Mans that the Ford GTs have purposefully not been using 6th gear because they believe that they would receive power bop for being too quick in a straight line if they were to use their 6th gear.
Well, yeah, this is something pretty exciting, isn't it, to come just now. So we'll see. It will be pretty insane if that is the case. But yeah.
Also, let's not forget, this isn't the first time that a Ford GT program has been at the centre of a potential bop
Scandal.
evasion scandal.
Yeah.
The Ford GTE back in the day, they did a very, very similar thing in terms of not utilising their absolute pace across a stint because they knew that they would receive excess bop if they were to do so. And is that possibly again something that these Ford Mustang teams under the guise of Proton are exploiting?
Yeah, I mean it's not just Proton though, is it? It's Multimatic as a whole. Qualifying hypercar coming up in 2 minutes on our stream at the moment, so we'll see what happens.
I'll be vastly impressed if this gets started on time. Are they getting this started on time? Oh, crack on.
They are.
Fair enough. I did say that these Le Mans teams are used to turning stuff around in a hurry if they need to. And clearly they do need to, because this session being started on time after that 6 or 7 minute red flag is quite impressive.
Yeah. Under 30 seconds till we start. This is going to be very exciting. 30 minutes now then for hypercars to get around this circuit and get their lap times in. Obviously 21 hypercars here today at Le Mans, but only 15 of them will go through to Hyperpole tomorrow, so it's going to be on for these guys, but we'll see what times they can do. And you know, they're in their own session this time, as opposed to having previous years where they share the track with LMP2s and GT3s, so always get caught up with the slower traffic. But this time, no traffic at all, just themselves. So just waiting for these guys to start their first laps this time around. As you can see, they're all heading out on track and around the Circuit de la Sarthe.
Oh, it would appear that I've come back at the perfect time.
You have, mate. We are going on our first laps now for Hypercar.
Yeah, Hypercar qualifying, likely to follow the same kind of progress that we saw in the LMGT3 LMP2 session, in terms of we'll see a gradual progression of lap times, followed by a large kind of big step in lap times. The first couple of laps, drivers will be kind of feeling it out, still getting the tyres up to temperature, not really necessarily at full push. And then probably by the time we get onto the third lap, the third competitive push lap from each car, we'll be seeing the drivers pushing full to the limit, and really maximizing everything that they can out of these incredible hypercar regulations. So you will want to stick around until the end of this one, because these times are going to tumble as we get going. We should have the first times coming up onto the board before too much longer. The leading hypercars having just come through the Mulsanne corner, meaning they're now on the back straight on the run down towards Indianapolis, at which point there really isn't much left of this track before you get back round to the finish line.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a long circuit, but then majority of the circuit is just those straights.
Yeah, absolutely. I think someone did the maths, and the straight, because the Mulsanne I think is about it's about 1.5 kilometers long, including the chicanes, and then the run down towards Indianapolis is about another 700 meters. So the rest of the track only actually makes up the sectors are relatively equal, somewhat equal time wise, but the but just those two straights are just under, I think, 2/3 of the track length total.
Yeah, it's a pretty long distance between them. So yeah.
It is a lot of time. So just at the moment, all cars having come through Sector 1, it was the Ferrari AF Corsa number 51 of Alexander Piaguidi who was fastest in Sector 1. In Sector 2, though, at the moment, it's Yifei in the number 83 Privateer AF Corsa Ferrari 499P, fastest through that second sector. And now we do have lap times coming in, and it's the number 20 of Robin Freins in the BMW M Team WRT that has gone to the top of the timing table. I mean, let's face it, not really any surprises there. That BMW team have been on point in qualifying so far this year, right up at the sharp end, both in WEC and in IMSA. So not surprised to see that number 20 car go to the top of the timing table at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. BMW have been on it throughout the whole year in both series, as you mentioned. So.
And here comes Ferrari to spoil the party. Ferrari now the top three cars, AF Corsa, then the two official Ferrari cars. So the 81, the 51, and the 50 now make up the top three, covered by just 0.4 of a second, although now split by the Porsche Penske number 6 in the hands of Kevin Estre.
These times are going to come ramping up now as they get quicker and quicker now.
Yeah, the question is now, just how fast are the times going to get? Are we going to get to the point where we get some, possibly even close to a sub 20 lap time? Maybe not this year, but I would expect we can't be far off in these hypercar regulations, surely. Already faster than we were in Hyperpole last year, and this is only the first qualifying session. We've still got Hyperpole 1 and then Hyperpole 2 left to come. And that was a lap time deletion for, I believe, the number 15 BMW M Team WRT in the hands of Dries Vanthoor. That lap time was deleted down to 21st in class at the moment.
That's not good for him, but still plenty of time for these guys to get around the circuit again and again and try and get some more laps in. So it is early on, but still don't want to be doing those sort of mistakes this early, or at all really.
No, exceeding track limits really not what you want, especially not in those first banker laps, because those really should be the laps where you aren't exceeding track limits because it's made to be a banker.
Yeah.
So that is a bit of a worry for that number 15 car, who now maybe risks having to do another banker lap just to get something on the table before he can start properly pushing. And of course, as we've already seen with 2 red flags in the LMGT3 LMP2 session, every lap that you aren't going competitively fast, you're at risk of your next one being ruined.
Absolutely. It's always thinking about the whole event as a whole rather than just that one lap.
Trying to see cars that are popping up with improving sectors. Well, Felipe Albuquerque in the number 101 Cadillac has just improved. Also improving is the 311 Wayland Cadillac in the hands of Jack Aitken. 2 green sectors so far this lap. We'll see when he's going to come across the line. He already has. It was an improvement, but I don't think it's moved him up any positions. Oh, it would have been an improvement. He backed out in Sector 3. So it didn't end up being an improvement. Yeah, and time's flooding in now. The number 7 Toyota there, popping up to P11. The 38 Cadillac Hertz in the hand of Sebastian Bourdais, up to P12. And we also had the number 12 Cadillac Hertz Team Jota, driven by Alex Lynn in this session, but also going to be co-driven by F1 World Champion Jenson Button, up to P9 in class, as things stand.
Jenson Button's in the 38, mate.
Oh,
It's
sorry, I had him in the
it's
wrong
the
car.
triple B, isn't it?
Yes, of course. Yes. All the Bs in that number 38 car. Still inside the cutoff. In fact, we'll do a little mid-session update when we get to about 15 minutes left on the clock, and we'll run through who is in and out as things stand. But we'll just wait for these next laps to come in, because there's going to be a lot of them coming, and that is a Porsche in the pit lane.
Not what you need earlier on.
Higher change.
Or even this late.
In quali. That's new tyres. I believe that is the number 6 Porsche Penske. New rear tyres only.
Your 38 also in.
As well. And that's us hearing there that Dries Van Tor, like I said, he's cost himself without a banker, has now lost his next push lap as well to track limits violation. So he is still bottom of the timing boards. I do apologise. As things stand, he is still bottom of the timing boards, having had both of his flying laps so far deleted. No massive changes at the moment. As I say that, the number 12 Cadillac Hertz Team Jota of Alex Lynn jumps up to P4, and the 38 jumps up to P5. The Cadillac Hertz Team Jota cars separated by less than 0.04 of a second at the moment. That's got to be at least somewhat promising for Cadillac.
Yeah, absolutely. Cadillac looks strong, but see what they can do.
There's Alessandro Piaguidi up to first place on track at the moment. And the 007 Aston Martin moves up to P19. Needs more though. Lots of cars in the pit lane, so I'm going to take this opportunity to run you through which cars are in and which cars are out. 15 cars in to qualifying 2, also known as Hyperpole 1. Those cars are the 51 Ferrari AF Corsa, the 83 AF Corsa, the number 6 Porsche Penske Motorsport, the 12 and the 38 Cadillac Hertz Team Jotas, the 50 Ferrari AF Corsa, the 5 Porsche Penske Motorsport, the 35 Alpine Endurance, the 20 BMW M Team WRT, the 31 Cadillac Whalen Engineering, the number 8 Toyota Gazoo Racing, and the number 7 Toyota Gazoo Racing, the 101 Cadillac Wayne Taylor Racing, the 009 Aston Martin Thor car, and the 36 Alpine Endurance. Currently out of the session, it's 6 cars. The number 4 Porsche Penske Motorsport, the number 99 Proton Competition Porsche, the number 94 Peugeot, the 007 Aston Martin Thor, and the 93 Peugeot, and rounding out, as I said already, with 2 deleted qualifying laps, the BMW M Team WRT number 15 in the hands of Dries Vanthoor.
Yeah, that Dries Vanthoor one is really not good for the team. Dries Vanthoor is a well-known good qualifier, but not this time at Le Mans, apparently.
Well, I'd say good qualifier is selling him rather short. He's been on pole so far more times this season than any other driver, I believe, across WEC and IMSA. He has single-handedly secured 4 of the first 5 pole positions in the IMSA Championship.
Yep.
So he's been absolutely incredible across one lap. But Le Mans may be his kryptonite this year.
He did well last year, but he did crash during, I think it was one of the Hyperpole sessions last year in the BMW. So
Still waiting really for the first lap times after those new tyres for a lot of cars to come through. No massive improvements across the field. The 009 Aston Martin Team Heart of Racing car is improving in Sector 1, so is the Proton Competition number 99. Other than that, no one on improving laps as things stand. I think possibly the other cars having been into the pit lane with 1 minute 40, 1 minute 50 first sectors. There's no one in Sector 1 at the moment. Sector 1 is wholly empty. And larger gaps in this hypercar field now in terms of on track, apart from just after the Mulsanne corner where we've got about 6 cars covered by a few 100 meters. Unideal.
yeah, you don't want traffic in these sessions. You just want to get on with it, get your lap set, and get going.
Yeah, you don't want traffic, and crucially in these hypercars through mid and high speed corners, you don't want dirty air, because these hypercars, they are quite wide, and as much as they're quite low to the ground, they do cause some dirty air, which in qualifying is massively unideal. Lots of improving sectors coming through now. The Alpine Endurance, number 35, is improving in Sector 1. The 311 Cadillac Wayland Engineering is improving in Sector 1 and Sector 2. Toyota Gazoo Racing, number 7, improving in Sector 1. Alpine Endurance 36, improving in Sector 1. The Porsche Penske Motorsport, number 4, improving in Sector 1. Fastest overall in Sector 1 for the Porsche Penske Motorsport, number 6, in the hands of Kevin Estre.
Kevin Estre is the master of Le Mans. We saw it last year. He was rapid and on fire during Le Mans Hyperpole last year.
The number 50 improving in Sector 1, fastest in the middle sector for Kevin Estre in that number 6 Porsche Penske Motorsport. The 311 Cadillac Wayland Engineering faster in the middle sector than their previous best, improving now both Toyotas. The BMW number 20 adding to that list of improving cars. The 50 Ferrari AF Corsa improving in Sector 1. Kevin Estre, though, just come through Indianapolis. So we've got about 40 seconds until we're going to be seeing his overall lap time, if not slightly longer. So we'll wait until he crosses the line, but fastest in Sector 1 and Sector 2. So this, at the minimum, is going to be a very good lap. The 101 Cadillac Wayne Taylor Racing moves up to P7 overall. An improvement on that lap, quite significant improvement as well from the previous. Lots of green sector times all over the board at the moment. If I was to tell you which cars are improving, it would simply be all of them. No cars at the moment without a fastest time. Cadillac Wayland Engineering 311 by Jack Aitken goes to the top of the timing board. Has a 23.890 as things stand. The number 6 Porsche Penske Motorsport about to come to the line. Been dethroned of its fastest middle sector by the number 20 BMW M Team WRT. But to the line, what can Kevin Estre do in that number 6 Porsche Penske Motorsport? He's pretty much secured into Hyperpole 1, but is it going to be the fastest time? Indeed it is. And it's a 23.3. A 23.360 from Kevin Estre. That is absolutely on
Rapid.
fire from the Porsche man.
Yellow flags, though.
Oh, yellow flag, where is it? I'm trying to spot where it might be. I can't see any cars that are stopped on the track map, though. I don't know about you, I can't see any stopped cars.
Slippery surface removed at Marshall Post 28.
Yeah, so it was gravel, someone went
Yellow
off.
removed.
The Alpine number 36 up to P5, improvement for them. They'll be happy about that. Lots of improving times coming through. The number 4 Porsche Penske Motorsport into 15th and just sneaking in. Apparently was one of the Alpines who went off at Marshall Post number 28. Is it going to be Mick Schumacher? It was the 35 Alpine that went off. And a puncture down on the rear left. The left rear tyre is down. The 009 didn't improve. Stays in 16th, faster middle sector, but slower in the first and last. Cadillac Hertz Team Jota of Sebastian Bourdais now fastest in the first sector. Toyota Gazoo number 8 goes up to P5. There are still 2 laps left. There are still 2 laps for all of these cars.
Yeah, this is going to become really intense now. See who can come through. Jeezan Thor to the top.
And the man is simply undeniable. Dries van Thor to the top of the timing boards on his first valid lap of the session. And it's not by a small amount, it's by half a second. It's a 3:22. It's a 22.8.
Insane
I
time.
thought I was seeing that wrong. That is mental. Dries van Thor deciding that he's had enough of these deleted lap
being
times
last. Yeah.
and just decided to go fastest. Just because why not? Just
Van
just
Thor
why
things.
not, right? Absolutely ridiculous. What a lap time. It would be ludicrously funny if that lap was to get removed for track limits now.
It would be,
That's
but
all
look,
I'm saying.
Sebastian Bourdais, fastest first sector in the number 38 Cadillac. We'll see
And improving in the middle sector as well.
Yeah, we'll see him coming through very, very soon. But unfortunately, both Astons out
As things
off the
stand,
top.
as things stand, there's still time. There is still time left in this session. I say as the Aston Martin number 007 moves from 20th to 19th. Brilliant work, lads.
Yeah.
And the Peugeots are on the struggle bus. Good lord. The Peugeots 20th and 21st at the moment. Ouch.
On their home track.
At their home track. It's
Bourdais
third.
up to third. Alex Lynn right to the top with a 32.847, 400ths quicker than Dries van Thor this time around.
Yeah, and how competitive is the top end of this grid right now? If the other cars can get down below into that 22 range, we could be seeing an absolutely ridiculous qualifying session. I mean, in all fairness, as we normally do around here at Le Mans, it's almost never known who we're going to see at the top of the times. The 009 is in! The 009 is in!
Aye!
Sorensen, please, no one else is allowed to improve. Red flag, someone crash. Please, I just need one of them into Hyperpole, please. It would be such a momentous occasion for them. Please. No one else is allowed to improve. It's against the rules now. At least no one from the bottom 6 cars is allowed to improve. Everyone else can. They don't matter.
This is so tense. Just less than a minute left in this session, and it's been absolutely mental so far. Hello to Kieran in the chat. Welcome in, mate. How are you doing?
And again, we've got big names not in the top 15. Nick De Vries in the Toyota number 7, not in. The car that has won so many Le Mans in recent history, not even into the first Hyperpole session. Felipe Nasr in the Porsche Penske Motorsport, not in. Stoffel Van Dorn, not in. Neil Jarni, not in the Proton competition. And Jean-Eric Verne, not in the other Peugeot either.
Jean-Eric Verne and Stoffel Van Dorn have improved the times to 18th and 19th, so Neil Jarni P20 and the Aston Martin of Harry Ticknell P21 at the moment. Checkered flag has been shown now. We'll see if any more times can come through.
Here we go.
Currently, Dries van Thor, Kevin Estra.
First across the line will be the Cadillac Wayland 311. It's not going to be an improvement from them. At the moment, they're going to stay 9th. Next across the line is going to be the 007 Aston Martin Team Heart of Racing. Currently coming through the Porsche curves. We'll wait and see if it'll be an improvement. It is a green middle sector, but it's not an improvement in the first sector. And it's that middle sector you've got to think where that Aston Martin is losing the time at 19.2 compared to the 18.7 of the Proton competition, number 99 Porsche.
Sorry to interrupt, but Mick Schumacher in the number 36 Alpine is under investigation for not respecting yellow flag. That would be when his teammate in the number 35 went off in the Porsche curves, just after the Porsche curves. That will be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. That was his teammate. So that could be a real issue. The 38 is into the pit lane. No more qualifying for them. Who else have we got on track and actually running? The number 12 has come into the pit lane. Lots of cars just coming into the pits rather than finishing their laps.
Felipe Nasr moves up to 14th. That drops the Aston out.
No!
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 How dare they?
No! Ah. Right, I'm going to say it. I hope the number 4 doesn't finish the race.
Right.
This is a crime against motorsport. I told you not to improve. I specifically requested it.
Nick De Vries going into the pits, not improving this time. 17th position for the Toyota of Nick De Vries.
Yeah, I mean, just really poor. The 51 Ferrari of course won't finish a lap. There's no need for them to do so. No one else on track needs to finish a lap, actually, so I expect everyone currently out on track will just come into the pit lane. No one improving. No one improving by enough.
And that is everyone's running over, apart from Antonio Fuoco, Robert Kubica at the moment, who are still on track.
So, the only thing I will say is that
And they are pitted.
From what I can find, Mick Schumacher in 10th has possibly disobeyed double waved yellows. That is a grid drop penalty, but with Hyperpole not starting until tomorrow, is there a chance that that penalty gets processed? And if it's a large enough drop, will we see other cars moved into Hyperpole? But essentially what I'm saying is that if it's more than a 5-place grid drop,
it could drop them out.
Will they drop out of qualifying and into a normal grid drop?
I could see it affecting their qualifying so that they don't participate in Hyperpole. You know, we saw it in Imola with the Ferraris when they had I can't remember, Fuoco, wasn't it, who had some track limits and then got kicked out of qualifying there and didn't advance through to Hyperpole. So we could see something like that happen. Obviously, it's a bit different this time. There's a lot more time between this qualifying session and Hyperpole tomorrow, but I'm sure something could happen.
Yeah, I would assume if it's anything less, essentially 5 grid drop, a 5 grid place penalty or less, it will be applied to their Hyperpole qualifying position. But if it's more, you'd have to think that they'll drop them out of Hyperpole, right?
Yeah, I would assume so. Well, what an interesting session we just saw. So we are finished with qualifying. And very interesting session there. What do you think from that? What do you take from that, Ollie? Where do you think it's going to end up tomorrow? When
I mean,
Hyperpole
the first thing is what a disappointing session for Peugeot. Their home track, a track that they performed, let's face it, very well at last year compared to where the rest of the performance of that 9X8 was. But this year, down in the tail end of the qualifying results, disappointing for them at their home track. You've got to think they'll be hoping for maybe a midweek BOP update to bring them possibly closer to the pack. The number 7 of Nick De Vries, that Toyota Gazoo Racing, out. Not even into Hyperpole, a car that has won Le Mans in recent memory. Not into Hyperpole is very, very rare to see, so a surprise there. in LMGT3, I've got to say the only real surprise for me is the well, no, two surprises actually. The first is the Martin Berry number 61 Mercedes making the cut into Hyperpole 1. Congratulations to the guys at Iron Lynx for getting that car in. Hopefully, maybe the beginning of an upturn in results for that struggling Iron Lynx team. The other big surprise, Ben Keating in the Corvette, not through, missing the cut for the first Hyperpole session in LMGT3. And in LMP2, I don't think there were any massive surprises, to be honest. Everyone I was expecting to get through into Hyperpole did so.
Well, we will definitely be seeing you guys tomorrow when we return for Hyperpole. Hope you guys will join us then as well. It will be very, very interesting, as I'm sure you're aware it will be. But thank you everyone for joining us today. A really interesting session, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you everyone. Take care.